Hey, we're back here on the KYCA show, the American Renewal. I almost said PM again. I just keep it's a habit because of the newness of the show. First week of the show. Hope you're all having just a joyous time out there listening. Jason Zinzilieta sitting in on this Friday afternoon. A little bit cool today. And it's going to warm up, I think, later in the weekend, but not too bad. Oh, are we looking good on that? Good. Okay. Technical stuff, folks. I mean, live radio. There's all sorts of stuff. And by the way, we're live on Facebook, YouTube. Our website, kyca.info. Something I forgot to say, by the way. If you haven't checked out kyca.info in a little bit, you need to take a look at the top of the page, and you're going to see a live shot of our courthouse downtown. It's our first camera. We've got like 20 more coming, and it's just going to be fantastic. But that's the first one. And it's going to help us out with our parade coverage as well when we get up to the rodeo parade and all the other parades that are going to be going on. So yay, and thank you to Josh over at the Jersey Lily for helping us out with that. It's been a long time coming, and we're finally got that going. Let's see, other housekeeping. By the way, time change is Sunday morning. That's right, spring forward, not for us, but for everybody else in the country. And it reminds me of the old political cartoon that I think it was Steve Benson down at the Arizona Republic. The late Steve Benson did for many years. They always ran it on the day of daylight savings time. It's a bunch of cavemen labeled Arizona screaming, the light, and running back into the cave. So, yes, we don't change our clocks here, but the rest of the country does. Most of the rest of the country. So be prepared for that. We're going to be 3 hours difference from the East Coast. So if you've got folks back home to call, just remember the time change and, bear that in mind. Okay. A lot going on over the last few days. Of course, the war continues in the Middle East. It's looking pretty good so far, but it's day by day, folks. There's ups, there's downs, and we hope that this is going to end soon. Everybody gets home, and along the way, we have a brand new ally in the Middle East. That, I think, is the final solution for all of this. Hopefully that we're going to have a whole bunch of people who are going to have a brand new country over there and a new government, and it's going to be much more pro-American like it was about 50 years ago. So hopefully that's going to happen, and we're looking forward to that and seeing what's happening there. Okay. I'm messing around here simply because we're still learning this show, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. It's Friday, and usually I would cover like Rush Limbaugh did. Open Line Friday. We'll keep that up for everybody. But today, instead, we have a guest. And so we're going to be talking about all sorts of different things today, as we usually do when she comes into the room. And that would be Representative Selena Bliss. Excuse
Thank you,
me.
Jason.
I'm sorry. It's Friday,
It is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So, Selena, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. We wanted an update. I know you talked to Ken Bennett a few days ago, but that's his show and this is mine. So, we wanted you to come in and say hello and see how things are rolling. I know that you, Kwong, Senator Fincham, and everybody else down there is being very, very busy. There's a bunch of stuff going on. I have seen that there's some people upset with some of the I saw a headline that said there's some people upset with some of the immigration bills not making it out of committee, but then I looked again and, Democrats, excuse me. I don't worry about that, but we got a lot that I want to discuss with you. If you have a question for Selena Bliss, 928-541-1016, live here on the American Renewal. Okay, Selena, first and foremost, how are we doing down there? 100 days?
It's interesting. Let's put it that way. So, first of all, thank you for letting me come in on a Friday. As you know, we're down at the Capitol Monday through Thursdays. The days are stretching into the evening. We are averaging about 12 hours each day. Fridays, though, are days in the district. So this is perfect. When you texted me, can I come in? It's like, absolutely. So it's good to update folks what's going on. So what we're seeing is something new. It's always something new. This is my fourth session, and I was told, we broke the veto record. We broke the record for how many days in session. Well, this session, we broke the record for how many bills were introduced. 2,120 bills. I think last session it was around 1,800 and some. But what we're seeing is, in my opinion, and we're talking about this amongst each other, is the system is buckling under the weight. The process has slowed down. We had crossover week last week where all of our bills were supposed to cross over into the other chamber.
Right.
Turns out crossover week has now become 2 weeks. We continue till yesterday to vote on our own bills. The House floor is still voting on House bills to get over to the Senate side. The Senate's doing the same. So in the meantime, you have 4 weeks to have your House bill heard on the Senate in committee. We have already set the second out of 4 agendas. So we're half done hearing bills from the opposite chamber in our committees, and we haven't even gotten all the bills over to the opposite chamber.
Goodness.
So as the clock ticks, and I guess we spring forward on Sunday, so we'll lose an hour. Just kidding, but point being is I'm starting to see that we're going to see a significant number of bills not get through the system just due to the sheer weight of bills. So long days. We did have a 20-hour floor session a week ago Thursday. It took me 2 days to recover, but we started at 10 a.m. and we went all the way till 5:30 in the morning. Tried to push as many bills as we could over to the Senate. Okay. However, 5 days later, we see the Senate president still hasn't assigned a fair amount of those bills to committee. Ooh. And I'm not sure what that's about. Because again, for every day that goes by, your chance of your bill being put on an agenda for the Senate committee just goes down, down, and down. Now, fortunately, Rep. Wynn and I have a great relationship with Senate chairs. We try to maintain those relationships. So we're reaching out to them already to be proactive, to hear this bill or that. And we don't just champion our bills. As chairs, I champion all the bills from Health and Human Services to go forward. And Kwang Win, being chair of Judiciary, he champions the judiciary bills. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Democrat bills. Yeah, we pretty much kill most of those. I was going to say 99.5%. Every once in a while, a good idea pops through and it has a Democrat sponsor on it. Now that we're down to our final batch of bills, we actually voted on a handful of Democrat bills yesterday. We had one go unanimous. We had 2. One was a great idea. We couldn't argue against it. It's when you get those subscriptions to services or magazines or whatnot, and you can't cancel them. Mm-hmm. This bill was a consumer advocate bill of sorts to protect us and make it easier to cancel a subscription to a service. And I'm like, well, why didn't I think of that? But it happened to be sponsored by a Democrat, and it was a good idea. And sure enough, unanimous vote out the House floor. So it does happen. It's rare to see a good Democrat bill, but there's one example. Not too many I can come up with beyond that.
Well, the old adage of broken clocks and things like that, So, I mean, not that I'm saying anything, anyway, moving on. I know that there's some people who are saying, well, you keep saying 100 days, 100 days. You haven't hit 100 days in I don't know how long. And they say, well, you're going around the calendar, but I think the objective is you've got to get that budget passed by the end of the fiscal year, and that's June 30th.
Absolutely. If we don't, the government shuts down. And if you think constitutionally, the only reason we're down there is to pass a budget, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And then while we're down there, oh, by the way, let's work on some bills. Our other role is to oversee state agencies and boards. And for healthcare, I oversee as chair of Health and Human Services 23 healthcare boards, your physicians, your pharmacists, your nurses, et cetera. So that takes time. In addition to that, constituent issues. We love when our constituents reach out, and if there's a way we can help, we do so. There's been quite a few emails here recently about local events, and sometimes we have to sort, is that a state issue, county issue, federal issue, or whatnot? But yeah, the numbers are coming out for the budget. It's still a little early. We're going on February numbers. March numbers are too early. We'll get those in April, and I think that's when we'll really solidify the budget. Okay. Now, predictions are we're slightly above the mark. We're a zero-based budget,
right?
So we have to end at 0. We're just slightly above. It's not a lot, but due to recent tax cuts, we're probably right at the mark. So I don't think you're going to see as many of those one-time projects funded, i.e. district priorities like you have in the past. At least it's not a deficit like 2 years ago. Yeah. That was tough.
Yeah, the economy is shaky, but so far so good, it seems, anyway. I know things have been kind of volatile, especially with the war going on. But are we confident, happy about what's going on down there so far? Do you have any predictions about what the governor might want on an election year?
We never know what the governor's doing. It's really hard to read her mind. I got to say, this is extremely frustrating. You know, of the bills that we've introduced, the first full week was spent on tax conformity. We spent the full 5 days, hours of work, and she vetoes it right off the bat. I think
Right.
it was just Friday of the first week. So we go back to the drawing board, we reformat it. Sure enough, she vetoes it a second time, even though she's contradicting the tax forms she had already had printed. So we're scratching our head. We're not sure what she wants. We finally just told people, go ahead, file your taxes. The guess is about 20 to 25% of Arizona tax filers will have to file an addendum.
Oh, gosh.
People are not going to be happy about that. But we've done what we could on the legislative side.
Gotcha.
Very frustrating.
Oh, yeah, I can understand. I mean, there's so much going on and everything, and now we've got to file taxes twice, and yeah, that's not good. And I'm guessing that if we have to file taxes twice, some people are going to end up maybe a little better and some are not, you know.
Right, because the tax conformity conforms to the H.R. 1, the big, beautiful bill, where President Trump clearly gave tax breaks to seniors, tax breaks to working families. So we wanted to conform to that as a state. We're one of the few states, there's just a handful of states like us that has to do this procedurally conform to the federal tax code as it changes each year. I would like, I don't know, some would like to see Arizona get out of having to do that and just automatically conform.
Right.
But we still like to look at things, mull them over, and then vote on them at the state legislature. So
No
that's
daylight,
one example.
No daylight savings time, no tax conformity without paying. You know, I mean, come on, we're Arizona; it's different. Why did the government? I expect that when you presented H.R. 1 and the conformity bill, it conformed to federal tax law. Why on earth did she get rid of it? Was it just because it was the big, beautiful bill? It was
well,
political?
I think part of that Trump derangement syndrome, but also...
I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you
we
did.
got a bill on that, too. But also, I believe she wanted to veto it so she could turn around and say, look, I'm offering these tax credits and reductions, but guess what? They're what Trump already did. So we see through that. The public sees through that. It was one of those when she declared her tax reduction package for Arizonans. It's like, well, wait, that's H.R. 1. That's what Trump did with the big, beautiful bill. So I think it's a losing approach to losing confidence in what people are seeing from the governor's office. I got to say, another big one, a veto package, is then we started after tax conformity working on health care. H.R. 1 had a lot built into it for healthcare reform to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse. You heard what happened in Minnesota.
Yes.
That happened 2 years ago here in Arizona. We discovered this with the developmentally disabled community, that the Parent as Paid Caregiver program had exploded in use. Come to find out, people were moving to Arizona to get paid to stay home to take care of their children for 40, some for up to 80 hours per week. It was on social media, how you could take advantage of this COVID era program that was meant to be temporary.
Right.
Word got out that you could commit this kind of fraud and abuse of this program, and we discovered it 2 years ago, wrote legislation last year to pull back on that program, or it was going to implode. It was going to actually implode the state budget as well. And we as Republicans wanted to keep that program viable to protect those severely disabled, but we didn't want it to be taken advantage of. So we pared that back tremendously. But anyway, back to the big, beautiful bill, there was healthcare reform for fraud, waste, and abuse in our state Medicaid program known as Access. So we crafted about 9 or 10 bills to that effect. And guess what the governor did with them?
That done and the trash.
Vetoed each and every one of them. So it's like, oh, and this is where I'm busy as chair of Health and Human Services. We coordinate with the Senate side. We created these as mirror bills. So come to find out, I mentioned earlier, we oversee state agencies. Guess who was up for renewal? Department of Economic Security. How
Ah.
convenient was that? So we were able to, just last week, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, it hasn't gotten a lot of press, but we did an amendment in my name as the chair. We brought back those 9 or 10 bills. We put them on an amendment and said, look, Katie Hobbs, if you're going to continue the Department of Economic Security, you're going to approve our 9 or 10 bills that came from HR 1. So we've put her now on the spot, and let's see what she does with that, because she's got to renew Department of Economic Security. But we're saying as Republicans, do it if you're going to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse. So the timing was good that their renewal came up. It's been an exciting week in that regard.
Well, we'll see. Okay. Well, all right. Take a breath. We're going to have to take a break. I know there's so much. We've only got an hour, and we've got a lot to cover. And then Steve Blair comes in, and the whole afternoon just goes kablooey. So, all right, Selena, thanks for hanging in there. We're going to take a quick break here on KYCA on the American Renewal. Back after this. Okay, we're back here on the American Renewal, and we've got a special guest. So, kids, if you want to call in, 928-541-1016, Representative Selena Bliss. I got it right that time, and we've got so much to cover. Thank you for staying by today. Very quickly, we've been hearing a lot about what's been going on around the country in terms of other state legislatures, and I just wanted to touch on a couple of things, if you can just name it off the top of your head. First of all, Save America Act at the federal level. Do we have something like that in the works at the state for Governor Hobbs to veto at some point?
I believe our elections committee on the House side, Alexander Culloden, is working on something in that regard. It hasn't come to the House floor yet. Some of these bills that are high priority, like I said, we're doing mirror versions, so it could come to us as a Senate bill or a House bill, but we'll know in the next 2 to 3 weeks. If we don't see it in the next 2 to 3 weeks, it's considered dead.
Not that I'm giving it much hope in this administration, but maybe it's a precursor to what we could see next year.
You know what, though? They always say bill's never dead till we sine die. There is this concept known as a burb in the budget reconciliation something or other. It's where you can put text of a bill in the budget. It is a rare thing, but it's one of those you can pull out at the last minute if you had to, and I've seen it. It is a rare thing, so who's to say it won't show up in the budget?
Well, that's true. I mean, anything, it'll be interesting. Okay, another thing that we've been hearing a lot about, especially in Minnesota, now Texas, believe it or not, and Ohio, among other places, is how we are dealing with Sharia law in various states and what's going on. What do you hear here in Arizona concerning that? Do we have any issues, problems, bills? What's your thoughts so far?
Yeah, we have two champions on the Senate side, Senator Hildy Angus, as well as Senator Shamp. And I believe one or both of those are working on something. Now, here's where I usually have my laptop up, and I've got our landing page, azledge.gov, and I will type in either the member's name or the bill number if I have it, and I can tell you where in the process it is.
Okay.
Again, Senate bills have not gotten to us yet. They're starting to be heard in committee, but those I know are out there.
Okay. 2,100 bills. You don't have this down by now? Come on.
I know, 2,120.
I'm sorry. What was I thinking? 2,120. You should have these just all memorized, of course. I'm sorry. It's Friday, folks. If you have a question, of course, 928-541-1016 for Representative Selena Bliss. I guess the big thing is, of course, the budget. That's a big thing. What's some of the most important things across your desk for Yavapai County, you think?
Oh, wow. Well, if you talk about the budget, I've got a couple bill numbers here. So
Okay.
I serve on the Transportation Committee. So we did hear a couple bills on priority road projects for Legislative District 1, which is pretty much Yavapai County. Now, here's the deal. What Kwong Win and I do is we look at the Regional Transportation Advisory Council as to what have they already triaged and prioritized. Because if you look at Yavapai County, you've got Y-Plan on the west side, you've got NACOG, the Northern Arizona Council of Governments, on the east side.
Right.
They've already prioritized their top 5. And who are we to really question these? Because, as you know, Y-Plan, that used to be SIMPO, are elected leaders from several of the municipalities. Same with NACOG.
Right.
So we understand they've done the data. They look at crashes. They look at fatalities. They look at how many people are on the roads. They handed us their top 5. So we took the top of each of those, and we're championing those. We put them in a bill, so it's on record. And those are now going out of committee to go on the shelf. They call it the budget box.
Okay.
And then they're fair game to negotiate. So as far as approps, you can see the actual bill and the language in that bill format if you go to our list of bills.
Okay. And I, as you say, probably a lot of the road bills, you folks come up with the idea, and then we will fund it, is basically what you're saying from the legislature, and you have your priorities, they have theirs. We try and mesh everything together there.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, because there's 30 different districts, and we're all championing our own projects. These are not small dollar projects.
Right.
So you also look, are they in the design phase? Are they shovel ready? How much did the city or county match? That's a big deal when you're championing your own projects. I got to say, for my role, I see myself now as truly a facilitator of other people's good ideas. So Rep. Wynn always teases that his knee pads are wearing out. Well, there's some of that, but that kind of begging and pleading, but also just that relationship building, and we're both good at that. And then back to the Regional Transportation Advisory Council, they have packaged the whole state's road projects. You'll see ours are built into that, as well as individual bills.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we'll see how much is left for us to actually negotiate with. We also work with Arizona Department of Transportation. They do a 5-year plan, so we're constantly submitting our priorities there so that they're reevaluated. So it's a multi-prong approach to getting your district road projects heard.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take our next break. I know we went a little bit long on the first one. Bottom of the hour, 928-541-1016. Representative Selena Bliss in the house. Your chance for a question, maybe an answer, who knows. Quiz her on which bill is which. There's only 2,120?
2120.
2,120. She knows all, she sees all. And we'll take a break while she panics over here, and we'll be right back. Okay, back here on the KYCA American Renewal Program. Folks, we're going to have some more fun with this next week. I'm just getting my feet wet. It's only been a week. Really, I mean, do you know what it takes to put long, hard minutes to put this stuff together? I had to text Selena once to get her on the air here. Okay, 928-541-1016. I had a question, and I think this was one that we really wanted to bring up. We had a lot of referendums, and this is a way for the legislature to get a bill through that it's not going to get vetoed. It goes straight to the voters. Are we going to be seeing a lot of that this year?
Yes, and I want to apologize in advance because we're with a divided government. We have a Republican majority on the House and Senate, but we have a Democrat in the governor's office. So what we have to do to get certain pieces of legislation bypassing her desk is to put them straight to the ballot, a legislative referendum. We are passing a ton of legislative referendums. And I'm part of the problem. I have the Save Women's Sports Act. I'm sponsoring that to protect girls' sports in K through 12, and that if you have to register as male or female on a sport, and then the sport's either male, female, or co-ed. It's to protect our females in sports. It's transparency, it's fairness, whatnot. But here's the thing. That's going to go into a bucket of other legislative referendums, and I think we're up to 30-some.
Wow.
Leadership has to sit down now and sort those out and decide. And when I say leadership, it's the Senate President and the Speaker of the House.
Right.
They have to figure out now what's going to go to the ballot. Last election cycle, you saw a 4-page ballot. 2 of those pages were legislative referendums. People got, in some cases, angry at us. They became confused. They turned against conservative legislative referendums because they read wonky. They read just like the Arizona Revised Statute.
Right.
So it's looking like there's going to be quite a few of them. Which ones, it's not positive until leadership decides. But I really want to caution people, too, in addition to legislative referendums, are citizens' initiatives. And we already have one out there, and it's evil. It's very evil, and it's to get rid of school choice, our empowerment scholarship accounts. Now, when you see citizens' initiatives that come from out-of-state bad actors, you'll see signature petitions come out. And what we're telling people is decline to sign. It's an actual program we're telling conservatives, decline to sign. If you are approached to sign a citizens' initiative to go on the ballot, there are no good conservative citizens' initiatives at this time. So decline to sign any of those and let your friends and family know, because there's an out-of-state movement that's come to Arizona to get rid of school choice. Because as you know, we are a leader in school choice, the empowerment scholarship accounts.
Yep.
Iowa patterned their program after ours, and the rest is history. You've got other states because we're the role model, but as a result, we're a target for people that want to take away school choice. So, yeah, brace yourself, long ballot. And here's the thing, we don't have a president on the ballot this election cycle, so
Right.
we've got to get conservatives out to vote and right-leaning independents. It's going to be critical.
Very important. Okay, put your ears on. We're going to have a call here. Scott has a question on a bill in the legislature. So, Scott, go ahead. You're on.
Yes, I've been getting a couple of emails, and I actually got a piece of mail today regarding a bill in Arizona that's going to affect gold and silver, the way it's bought and sold.
Really?
Yeah, that's a Representative Fink bill. She has 2 of them. She put them to third read this week, and here's where if I had my computer in front of me, I'd type in the bill number. I don't believe she got the votes to get it off the floor, and she subsequently held her second one right away.
Okay, and what's her purpose?
You know, sometimes you don't know who approached her and the legislative intent, but the idea was to use gold and silver bullion in the state government type of budget. She's actually the expert on that. I would have to reach out to her to get more information other than what I know by reading the bill.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard about this bill. And so, so there's that. I'll tell you what, if we can find out more about that, we'll try here. Okay?
Yeah, if you give me a bill number, I can just tell you the backstory because I know there's only 2 that fit that description.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks a bunch for calling, Scott. 928-541-1016. And let's see. I don't know what time it is, but you know what? Let's go ahead and call for a break here because, your apology took a little bit of time here. So for the referendums. And I know they're very important. And when you're facing a split government, it has to happen sometimes.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, with so many bills coming up, like you say, leadership has to make a choice. And that can be a problem. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a break and back after this. Okay, we're back here on the KYCA. I keep saying the KYCA PM show. No, this is the American Renewal, folks. We're all for rebuilding our country as long as we can and get over the wreckage from the last last administration. Speaking of which, I showed you this one, Selena. I cannot believe this, to be honest. They carted out good old Joe Biden at Jesse Jackson's funeral, and it went as embarrassingly as you can imagine. According to the story on X, Biden got up. Let's see, where is that story? I just had it up here, and it was so much fun. Let's see. Hang on, folks. This is live radio. This is what it's all about. Basically, he said, "I'm a whole lot smarter than all the rest of you," and that pretty much summed it up right there. So, God bless you, Joe. We appreciate you coming out occasionally and giving us a little slap of humor. Okay, Representative Selena Bliss back in the House. Where did we want to go from here?
Did we want to explain that? The last caller.
Excuse
he asked
me, yeah.
about one of Representative Lisa Fink's bills.
That's right. That was H.R. 2123.
Yeah,
was that right?
and this gives more explanation. This bill focuses on creating the Arizona Bullion Depository to hold gold and silver, aiming to recognize these metals as legal tender for debts and potentially taxes. So the reader asked, the caller asked, what was the purpose of the bill? We call that the legislative intent of the bill. And sometimes we have to scratch our head to figure out who's really behind some of these bills. Like some of them are national movements that go state by state. To be honest, I don't know who's behind this bill. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of opposition to it. We get well over 100 emails a day, and that one we really heard a lot about. So I wasn't surprised when it failed on the House floor.
Well, I know there's a lot going on. I understand, especially in an election year, people are throwing just about anything they can, and sometimes it means I want something that's very closely segmented to my district or whatever, and there are others attempting to make statements, and that comes along with everything that has to be done.
Yeah, there's a variety of those bills. I just got a call from a reporter on one of my bills on municipal improvement districts that so happens to be, it was brought to me by the town of Camp Verde. Well, straight out of the reporter's mouth was, "Do you usually run constituent bills?" I'm like, "No, this is not a constituent bill. This is for all towns and cities. It's just so happens Camp Verde's in my district, so we work together. So I had to explain, if you go into request to speak, look at all of the cities and towns across the state that want to improve the process on forming a municipal improvement district. It has to do with bringing in public input sooner in the process rather than later where it is now.
Real quick, tell me your thoughts on the fact that finally, at long last, we are moving on some money for the rodeo. The city is beginning to make some expenditures. The $15.3 million that came out of the legislature from you folks 2.5 years ago is finally going to be spent, and I can say that the city and the rodeo both are very happy about the situation, as I understand.
Yeah, I've told my family this. There's one thing I'm going to get engraved on my gravestone at the very bottom. It's going to be, "She funded the rodeo." It's one of those that it was my freshman year. I'm on my 4th session now. That was the year we had the excess for one-time spending. Rep. Wynn and I collaborated on district priorities. We spread everything around along with Ken Bennett, and we landed on this 15.3 to improve the rodeo. At the time, Jim Rounds had published the economic impact report that it was a return of $5 for every $1 invested in the rodeo. So we got that process going. This has just been a roller coaster.
Right.
We are indeed watching that money is spent. Quang Nguyen and I had to go in and retool that bill to make sure that the time was extended so that if it's unspent, it doesn't get pulled back. There was 2 years ago, we were at high risk for having lost the whole thing, but Quang Nguyen and I worked diligently in the background with staff and other legislators to protect that, and that was not easy. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be on my gravestone. So I would hope the next time I go to the rodeo this summer that there's a flushable toilet that I can use properly, and if I break a leg and I'm in a wheelchair, that I can get to and fro from my seat. So we'll see, to be determined.
Well, let's not have any leg breaking going on around here, but I do believe I talked to Greg Mengarelli the other day, and they said the sound system is first, the new bleachers are next. Hopefully they can get all that. The time limit for the first things are going to be, I believe, the collegiate rodeo in April. So they're looking forward to that. Sound system is going to be wonderful. And then comes all the infrastructure, hopefully this fall. So
yeah, you know what's frustrating is that master plan was presented to us before the money was appropriated. That's always been out there. And we had public meetings, and then people denied that there was a plan or public input. So it was very frustrating as this thing rolled out, and really it got misinterpreted and out of control. But that master plan showed the exact breakdown of what's going to be spent and what the priorities were as far as sound system, lighting, dust control. So it's exactly what we knew 5 years ago was going to happen.
right. Well, it's moving forward. So that's a victory right there. Long coming, but, finally it's here. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead. Do we have some time here? I think we do. Let me take a look at the clock here. Yep, we're good. Let's go ahead and go to line one, and Lynn is on the phone. Lynn?
Hi.
Hey, Lynn.
So Selena's on my list, and I don't know if you talked about other items because I just got to where I could hear your show.
No problem. Go ahead.
So my 2 items, Selena, and thank you so much for being here. One is homeowners insurance. My homeowners insurance was $500 a year in 2020, and now I just paid it as $4,000. And
wow.
So nothing's changed, and I'm just concerned about losing my home.
Yeah, so non-renewal is the term. This happened to my parents a year and a half ago, and it happened to me 6 months ago. I subsequently had to find a different plan, but this has been taking a lot of our time. It's a priority for the district. I was part of an ad hoc group for the wildfire insurance. We found a couple things that could be improved upon. One of them was the WUI code, the Wildland Urban Interface codes, and I did read in the Courier the city of Prescott is updating those maps. Some of that, it helps certain residents, others it harms in that it puts you into a high-risk area, and that may be why some artificial intelligence computer decided, and I say that with air quotes because it's frustrating. People don't make these decisions. It seems computers are deciding who gets non-renewals, who gets these gigantic increases in their insurance, and it's extremely frustrating.
Well, there's a insurance commission in California, and I'm not sure about all the right words I'm using, but there's an insurance commission in California, and they only allow the insurance rates to go up less than 10% a year. But our insurance commission doesn't seem to do that here. It seems like the sky's the limit.
That's an excellent question, because when we had our ad hoc, a constituent reached out and said, well, why doesn't Arizona do the state plan like California does? So we ran back to our research assistants. We looked it up. That plan in California costs a lot, but covers very little. So we saw that as not an option for Arizonans. But we're
I'm
open
just
to
concerned
any
about
ideas.
it because, every year it just went up $1,500 between last year and this year's renewal. And I'm like, wow, pretty soon I'll be what they call unhoused.
Yeah, and we look at how that's done. Like right now, it seems like it's checkerboard squared. It seems like there's computers doing this. So what the state can do to protect our citizens is we run bills that say you got to have a person doing this or making the final decision, or you got to have a right to appeal. So we're running little bits of legislation here and there, but we're struggling to come up with a real good blanket answer. It is getting out of control. I agree.
Well, yeah, and I'm afraid, like, I don't have a mortgage, but what if you had a mortgage and then you were going to lose your mortgage because you lost your insurance?
Exactly, and that's happening in Groom Creek right now, too.
Yes. And my last one, and I'll leave you be real quick, also Airbnb. So I live in the county area, but I moved to the county area because I have some disabilities. And one of them is an albinism problem. I have ocular albinism, so I'm really light sensitive. So now somebody's made a house next door to me into an Airbnb, which is kind of an oxymoron. And so we don't seem to have any outline to go by. I can't think of the right word, but we don't seem to have like any standards or anything. Are we creating any standards?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked about this. We said over the break, I said, Jason, if you want to hear about any of my bills, just shout out a category and I can give you a bill. This is one that's really near and dear to my heart on short-term rentals. When I came into office 4 years ago, this was handed to me by a previous legislator to say, look, we have a problem. In 2016, Debbie Lesko sponsored a bill that took away the ability for cities and towns. Now, this wouldn't apply to you because you're county, but this bill took away the ability for cities and towns to regulate the short-term rental industry. And I use Debbie Lesko's name because she is such a sweetheart. She's a mentor to me. Her and I talk about this bill, and she said, yeah, I hear there's some unintended consequences as a result. She's on board now to help me clean this up. I've run bills along with the League of Cities and Towns to address the short-term rental industry. I have yet to make a break until this session, and we have finally, I have House Bill 2429 on vacation rentals and occupancy. I'm finally getting the door to open a crack. It's been a lot of resistance because people argue, well, this is private property rights of the person that comes in and buys these homes to turn them into short-term rentals, but I argue those neighbors have private property rights too. The reality is the Realtors Association is a big, powerful lobbyist group. They come out against any reform in short-term rental. And then you've got Airbnb that's fighting the League of Cities and Towns. So 2 weeks ago, when I realized we were running out of time, my bill was going to fail one more time, I brought those three together and I said, come on, guys, let's do something. Well, lo and behold, they had about 6 bullet items they actually agreed on, and I got really excited. I said, let's put this in a bill format. So we took my bill, my HB 2429, we did a strike everything, we put all new language into it, and we're finally seeing a crack in the door because turns out Airbnb, they don't like the bad actors either. They are seeing that their industry needs to clean up. So it's like, finally, we agree on something. So this is a bill I'm pushing hard for. It's going to come up for third read this week. I'm still getting some people that are nervous about, well, what about private property rights? But the cities need, and I think the key word for you is ordinances. The city needs that ability to control some of those bad actors, and this bill will help.
Well, I appreciate that because if you're going to, not you, but the proverbial you, if you're going to allow an Airbnb or vacation rental, then you got some problems with people violating your rights, but they're using their property as a commercial business.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's kind of an oxymoron then. So then I lose my residential rights because now you're operating as a commercial business, but you're paying taxes as a residential, and it's very confusing.
And housing stock goes down, prices
Thank
go
you.
up, schools lose enrollment. And hotels sit half occupied. So it's a real conundrum.
Thank you. That's a nice word, too, conundrum. Well, thank you for all your hard work, and thank you for being on the radio.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for calling. Okay, we're going to have to take our last break. Short segment coming up to wrap things up on the renewal for the week, for our first week. Back after this. Okay, final quick segment. Think real fast here on the American Renewal. Selena Bliss back with us. We got about 5 minutes left. We were speaking about AI. What can the state do? What can the legislature do at this point?
So that's an ongoing argument right now between states and the federal government, the feds. And for example, I went back in December to work with Dr. Oz on the rollout of H.R. 1 and the Rural Health Transformation Fund. And he stood up there and said, states, we'd rather you not regulate AI. We want a federal approach so all 50 states are kind of in line with AI and healthcare. I had to counter back because we're already writing legislation in Arizona because the feds are so slow to regulate or write legislation. We're taking it upon ourselves to protect children. Primarily, that's the type of bills you started to see last year, was artificial intelligence. For example, the ability, there was a child that died by suicide because a chat bot taught him how or encouraged him to do so.
Yeah.
So we're looking at age parameters, filters. We're seeing some success in those bills. We're not going to wait. Arizona's not going to wait for the feds. We have to take on some of this ourselves because for something to happen federally just takes too long. In artificial intelligence, we are getting caught off guard. in
Yeah.
this
Well,
regard.
I can't see anybody who is on guard on this. I mean, it's just moving so quickly. Very quickly, of course, being in health and human services, the top priority concerning health that may concern us or the entire state. What do you think?
You know, it's two sides. It's the provider side and the insurance side, and that's the affordability and being able to access health care. We're trying to expand access by there's a bill for test and treat where your pharmacist, if they choose, can test and treat for minor, like sore throat, to rule out strep throat, and then minor treatments so that if you can't get into your urgent care or ER or physician, you've got another option. We're looking at fast-tracking healthcare professionals, getting them to work, compacts that allow interstate license portability because I'm a licensed registered nurse. I'm in a compact state, so I can move across state lines to practice in nursing. The Department of Defense needs that too. So we're doing a lot in healthcare, both on the provider side as well as the insurance side. There's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of fun for myself because my background is in healthcare.
Right. But and again, that's something that has been great for you to chair. So we've appreciated that. 60 seconds remaining. Most important thing at this moment.
Absolutely. It's get out the vote this fall. In the general election, we don't have a president on the midterm ballot, so it's going to be extremely important. I can't emphasize enough, this is what keeps me awake. We can't lose our majority in the House and Senate at the state level of government. We are 2 seats ahead on the House side, 2 on the Senate side. If we have 5 to 6 swing districts, we lose more than 3 of those, we're done for.
Yep. And things will change. And of course, right now, as we said yesterday, Hobbs is ahead in the polls by about 5 points over Andy Biggs. And we also have to contend with the fact that we're going to have a lieutenant governor this time, and that may change the race as well. So, okay, Selena, thanks for coming in. I know this has just been think real fast, but we got it done. So we appreciate it.
It's a treat. Thank you.
We'll see you soon. And all you folks, have a great weekend. God bless America. Hope everything goes well for you over the weekend. Remember, stay strong and know that we are doing all at our best to rebuild this great country. We can do it. All we have to do is try. Okay. The PM